Well, Matt, I should say, to start off, congratulations.
Thank you.
It's been a big week for you.
Yes.
Let's just talk about, obviously, now Superintendent of the Year. That, I would imagine, speaks volumes for the responsibility now that people will sort of place on your shoulders in being a visionary to some regard. How do you look at that when you think about other superintendents that are looking for guidance for community? I'm getting a great sense that the community of superintendents is much more than we might think is just general citizens around the U.S. of how you communicate. How does this award impact you in the way in which you can help lead the community of superintendents that you know and that you will now know?
Yeah. That's a great question. I think as National Superintendent of the Year, it does provide a platform to talk about the status of education in our country. And I think public education has come under attack. I think people are questioning it. I think there are some folks that are looking to privatize it. There are attempts to take away healthcare from thousands of our students that benefit from that. And I think one of the things that we can do as superintendents, and I can do as a national superintendent, is to raise that awareness of the needs of our students. And we need to talk about our stories. We need to talk about our successes. We talk about our kids and our communities. And when we do that, folks have a greater understanding of the value of public education, how it's really, I believe, a core part of our democracy and really critical to the future of our country.
How has the role of superintendent changed, and can we do a better job of communicating really what and who a superintendent is and personalize the role and the position so that community members feel connected? Because I've talked to a lot of people who either don't remember their superintendent when they were growing up, or they looked at them more as sort of city managers, as opposed to professionals who understood teaching and learning, that were engaging and understood the value of marketing and branding a district.
Yeah. I've often been told by others that the superintendent is maybe one of the most challenging and difficult jobs in our country. And it certainly is complex. You need to be that visionary leader who can guide and lead a strategic plan and a mission of an organization. You also need to understand what I call the rocket science behind teaching and learning and how students learn. And you need to be able to manage people and budgets. But you also need to be that community ambassador. For many communities, the public schools are the core of that public community. And as a superintendent, you need to be in tune to what your community's dreams and wishes are for the education of their children. And that really requires us to be out in the community and talking about the public school system and what we're focusing on and what's our mission and vision, as well as listening to parents about what they want, obviously, for the education of their children.
Let's talk about some hot topics to get your perspective on. Where are we with federal versus local control, state? Where are we with the best way in which to manage a local community, understanding that we are in the United States of America and that there are ways and directives that can support us, whether it's from a budget perspective or just a vision? Where are you in what is a preferred model as we're looking forward?
Yeah, that maybe is the question of the moment. I think we're a month, 5 weeks into a new administration at the federal level, and I think we're as superintendents trying to figure out where is education headed from a national perspective. We certainly have heard that a greater emphasis on state control, which I think most superintendents would prefer. We're a unique country, we're a big country, and we have different issues depending on where you reside in our nation. And to have decisions made at the local level, I think most of us would agree that is the place where decisions need to be made. And at the same time, the federal government does play a role. I mean, they do provide some federal funding in really key critical areas. Our title programs and support for students that have special learning needs, for our English language learners, for our students of poverty, really critical funds. And often when an agency is providing those funds, there's some oversight that come with those funds. And so there definitely needs to be a give and take. But at its core, decisions about the education of students should reside at that local level with that local elected or appointed school board.
How do we look at it then if the general public, they see in the press, we'll call it the mismanagement or the challenges with managing funds and budgets at the district level. So I hear you when you say, obviously, if we can do it locally, we're going to know our communities better and that we should have the ability to do that. Yet, when we look nationally, we hear of districts that struggle to effectively manage funds, and then globally, our expenditures per pupil exceed that of many countries, and yet we still struggle. So how do we reconcile that fact around a message that can embolden the local communities to say, yes, we trust our local officials, they're the best to be able to manage what we've got coming in, and move it where we're all in sync?
Yeah, I think it's important to acknowledge that there are 13,000 school districts in this country, and I think it's important not to make a bigger issue when a couple have issues of mismanagement. The other 13,000 are doing what their
quite
community,
well.
what the community wants us to be providing, and so I think that's. I always think we need to put those in perspective.
So when you go into the office next week,
Yeah.
what's different for you? Is there going to be a moment of reflection where the phone isn't ringing, the emails aren't piling in like they are just out of congratulations, where there's a moment of pride and accomplishment, because this is a very significant point, I would imagine, in your career, both professionally and personally?
Yeah, yesterday receiving the award was just obviously a surreal experience. You as a finalist, you don't think you ever put yourself completely in there. Oh, this is a possibility, and so it was obviously just an awesome experience yesterday to be recognized for the work that our district has done, and I am blessed to work in a really supportive environment. Our administrators and teachers and classified staff, our school board and our community, we're on the same page, we support each other, and it really is a great place to work. Yesterday, after the award ceremony, I was able to connect with some colleagues here from our school district, and they live streamed the announcement yesterday back to our district, and somebody took a video of that live streaming when the announcement was made, and just a room of 7,500 people, and seeing their reaction to receiving this award was probably one of the most heartfelt experiences of my career, and just the sense that we've done this together, and how awesome is it for us as a district and a community to get this recognition. And so when I walk back in on Monday, that's actually I'm so excited to do that, because it's just they sent me a big hug from 2,000 miles away, and I want to reciprocate that, and just talk about this is us. It isn't about me, and leadership isn't about a single person. It's about what we've done together, and so that's what I'm most excited about.
Matt, let's close with this. What is the moral of the story of your professional path that we can take some lessons and hopefully identify the next superintendent of the year nationally in 10, 20 years? What can we learn from your story that helps us identify the next crop of talented leaders?
Yeah, I think the moral of my story is really one of focusing on equity. And when I became superintendent, it was really apparent that we had disparate outcomes in our school district, from student achievement to attendance to graduation rates. And those disparate outcomes were based on students' skin color, their parents' income level, the language that was spoken at home, in some cases even gender. And really at my core, we cannot be a school system that has those disparate outcomes. And it really requires us to take action, and that really has been our driver and our vision. And how we've tackled that is really through a lens of equity. And we have asked all of our staff, all 2,000 of them, to really look at who they are and what's their racial identity and what they bring into their work environment every day. And when we ask them to do that, and understand who they are, they're better able to understand who our students are. And when you can better understand who your students are through that lens of equity, and you honor and celebrate their history and their culture and their identity and the experiences that they're bringing to us every day, you affirm their identity. And when you affirm their identity, you create inclusive learning environments for our students, and that's been our story. We don't focus on test scores. We focus on creating these inclusive learning environments with our students, supported by really tight and effective instructional strategies, and when we do that, great things are happening for our kids.
Well, I know you're very humble, and it speaks to why you won the award and your team, but I hope you take an opportunity to enjoy this personally, because it's well-deserved, and it speaks to all the opportunities in education that we want young people to see, because we won't all be working in these positions in years to come, and we want them to be just as excited. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Appreciate the opportunity.